Going to Kansas City. If I come, I come.
All right, welcome to the second episode of Chopping It Up with the Cleavers. My name is Emmanuel Cleaver III.
And my name is Emil Cleaver.
Be sure to check us out every Tuesday. That's when we drop an episode. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Chopping It Up with the Cleavers. You can check us out most places where you get your podcast. So that's where we are every single Tuesday. Make sure you check in.
Please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're trying to reach 100 subscribers by, when are we trying to reach it?
Tomorrow. That's simple. All right. So let's jump into it. The big news this week, of course, President Biden gave his first State of the Union address. What stood out to you?
Well, what stood out, first of all, is that President Biden is an extremely boring human being. I mean, I had to try to force myself to watch.
Let's just say he's boring in speeches. You don't know if he's, but when he's not in front of the camera, he might be kicking it. I mean, who knows?
Nah, I mean, it was hard to watch. I think maybe next time they need to put some background music in there. So, I mean, because it was hard to watch. That's the first thing that I recognized. Second, I noticed all the funding that would be given to Ukraine. I can't remember how much, but I mean, it was millions of dollars to help aid the war in Ukraine. And the first thing I'm thinking is, man, we have people sleeping on the streets on Purcell Boulevard. I guess it's Martin Luther King Boulevard now. We got people sleeping under bridges. We have all these people homeless in Kansas City. Maybe he doesn't know about it. Maybe he in DC they don't have homeless people, which I know isn't true.
Yeah, but they're all over DC. Yeah, but here's the thing. I mean, we know that there's a homeless population. There's a problem in every major city across the country. But I mean, I don't know. It doesn't seem like that's something that the government wants to address or really gets into, because it's there. It's not new.
Yeah,
I remember the first time we went to DC. And I remember seeing people sleeping on the street not too far from the White House. And I was like, how in the world can this be?
Yeah, I remember seeing that park where all those people were sleeping and all those rats running around that park.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But I mean, like Tupac said, they have money for war but can't feed the poor. So I mean, I want to know how they came up with all this money to help the Ukrainians all of a sudden, but they can't help people in Kansas City and Chicago and Detroit.
Yeah, they find money for what they want to find money for. But, you talk about Ukraine and, people were in there, they're wearing the Ukrainian colors and all of that. And, talking about how they are being oppressed and, Russia's coming in. But I'm thinking the whole time, when is he going to say something about the Africans and those from South Asia who are in the Ukraine and they couldn't get out? They were being discriminated against. Black folk being mistreated everywhere. It seems like everywhere we go.
Yeah, and it's not, I don't hear anything about it in the mainstream media. I found out about it from D.L. Hughley. D.L. Hughley posted some videos, African and Asian students. Just in case you don't know, in Ukraine, there are African and Asian students who are stuck in Ukraine trying to get out, but they're being forced to stay. They're being mistreated. Some of them are being beaten up. And I saw one interview where they had an African student saying that he wasn't allowed to get on the bus, and he was given a gun. They wanted him to stay and fight. Now, just think about that. You have a son or daughter that goes to a different country to get an education. A war breaks out, and that government tries to make them fight in that war.
And they can't get out.
Yeah, can't get out.
It's crazy. So, we're lifting up. People are saying Ukrainians are in our thoughts and prayers. That's good. Let's keep in our prayers those African and Asian students over there who are being mistreated by the people who are being mistreated. That's the funny thing about it. The Ukrainians are being mistreated by the Russians, and then in turn, the Ukrainians are mistreating African and Asian students.
Well, that's how it is. It pours down. It flows down. It's bombs and bullets, but the Ukrainian people are still taking time to be racist.
And we won't. We don't. I mean, we can't say everybody over there. I mean, but it's on a large scale. So that's a problem. And I wish that Joe Biden had said something about that. I mean, you want us to be concerned for the Ukrainians, but there are people being mistreated over there. But I mean, it's the same thing in this country. Like you said, we find money for wars, but can't feed the poor. Well, Tupac. But it's the reality, because there are people right now in Kansas City, St. Louis, all over, who are struggling, and those millions of dollars being used to help aid folk in another country. And I know, you ought to be concerned about everyone, but I think it starts at home.
Yeah,
really starts at home. Definitely
starts at home. I mean, especially since I don't know if we can take some of that money back until they start treating the Africans better.
Hey, I don't know why not.
Yeah.
I mean, if they want to be treated right, why don't they treat others right? And again, can't say this is all the Ukrainians, but it is on a large scale. The thing I'm disappointed, it was never mentioned in the State of the Union.
Did you expect it to be?
I mean, if oppression, you need to say something about it.
Nah, well, they don't talk about oppression in America. They're not going to talk about it overseas.
Yeah, well, so that was the other thing. But he also talked about the present tax system and how, it's unfair. And that's another thing that's been talked about for so long. We know that the wealthy are sometimes taxed at a lower rate. We saw what Donald Trump got away with, just paying a few $100s. And it talks about our tax system being broken. I mean, that's not new. I mean, at what point do we stop saying it just to get people happy? Hey, we're going to fix the tax system. And then people clap. Oh, good job. Oh, he cares. But then nothing. We're still dealing with it.
Yeah, it's going to be, you have billionaires who are going to prevent that from happening. They're not just going to say, okay, yeah, hey, we want you to tax us too. It's unfair that these poor people are being taxed. They're not just going to say that. Hey, why don't you have part of our company too?
Yeah, but here's another thing about it. You got a lot of ignorance. And like Jay Rue, the damager said, ignorance is contagious.
Ignorance is widespread in America.
But you got people who are being taxed high, who are on the lower end of the income spectrum, and they're fighting for the rights of the wealthy. I mean, and when I say they're fighting for the rights, they do so by voting for folk who are trying to protect the wealth of the wealthiest. I mean, that's ignorance. That's voting against your own interest. And the thing about it is, maybe they don't even know it, or maybe they do so because they hope someday they'll be rich and they don't want to be taxed. But that seems like a backwards way of thinking.
Yeah, I think that goes back to good old racism. It's good old racism, man. That's what that is.
Okay, say more. Say more.
Listen, it's racism because they're voting against their interests, but they're voting against black people. That's what they're voting against.
That's what you say. That's what they think they're voting against.
That's what they think. That's what they.
But they're also voting against themselves. Yeah. Well, I mean, if you go back to the founding of this country, it was the wealthier whites who pit the lower income whites against blacks. I mean, that was the go-between. And so I guess you still see some of that today. But it's been talked about at some point. Hopefully, something will be done about it. The other thing that struck me, he talked about the Voting Rights Act. It seems strange, there were protests and march in the 50s and 60s. And even before, people died for the right for black folk to vote. And now in many states, there are laws being put in place to make it harder for people to vote. Insane. And we're talking about this is 2022. Because, the more people vote, that means some of those who are among the elite, their agenda gets put aside. So they don't want everyone to vote. They don't want the masses to vote, because you see what happens when people get out and vote. Well, you have people like Barack Obama elected. When you get out and vote, you have people like Hillary Clinton. Although she wasn't elected, she did win the popular vote. And so that goes contrary to what many in this country think how things ought to be.
Yeah, a lot of this is happening because of distraction. I mean, a lot of people aren't really paying attention to it. I mean, you have politicians screaming about it, but the general public, I don't think, is paying attention to this. I mean, there's too much going on social media. The latest challenge or whatever it is, the dance or, man, what?
I mean, what? I know there's these challenges. I remember the ice water challenge. That was the dumbest thing to sit and waste. Come on, please.
Man, I know.
Sit and waste some water.
Yeah,
Man, I'm not trying to waste water.
Cold water.
Trying to drink water.
Yeah.
That was the most wasteful challenge. But we have challenges like that. Then the crate challenge, people climbing up and busted their dome.
I mean, and this is why the Voting Rights Act is happening right now. I mean, all this is happening because of the distraction. Man, I keep telling you to watch that movie, Idiocracy. It's Mike Judge. It's a movie, Idiocracy, man. This movie, Idiocracy, let me tell you about this movie. It's about a movie about a man in modern day. They freeze him.
Oh, yeah. And he goes forward in time.
500 years. In modern day, he was the average, just an average Joe.
Right.
But 500 years later, he's the smartest man on earth. And they tell you why in the movie because of
the dumbing down of America,
just
American
the dumbing
society.
down of America, slangs. Smart people don't want to have kids. Dumb people are having kids. And in 500 years, I mean, we're so stupid. The planet is so stupid. And I think that's kind of what happened. Is what happening. It's a movie called Idiocracy and a movie called Wall-E. Remember that movie? It's a cartoon.
I think I saw that years ago.
Those two movies. In Wall-E, the people are so big that they need remote controls to move around. That's the laziness. That shows the laziness of America. Idiocracy shows the stupidity of America.
Yeah, and we're falling behind from other countries in terms of math and science.
Behind.
Math, I mean, it's a serious problem because all we want to do is get the highlights, and all we want to do is learn how to dance and get on social media, and then be on teenage mom TV shows and all this, on reality shows, and meanwhile the country is just getting dumber and dumber.
Yeah, I worked in schools, and some schools they don't even teach kids how to write anymore.
What, they teach them how to type?
Yeah, because everything is on a computer, so they don't know how to. They literally don't know how to write. I mean, it's not. I guess in the future that's not going to be important unless the computers go down. But
yeah, well, that's the issue. It's a lot of problems we have with our educational system. The way this country runs, you can tell that we don't care a whole lot about education. I mean, I would think the smartest people would go into teaching. That's who you want to actually teach, the smartest of the smart. But they don't. They go into other areas because that's where the money is. So the smartest people, I mean, why am I going to be a teacher to bust everything I have just to make a few pennies, few crumbs, in a broken system to begin with? I think teachers need to be among the highest paid.
Yeah.
Because you want the smartest people teaching your children.
Yeah, you do, but that's not how it is, and hence the dumbing down of America. Don't be a dummy, America.
Dum-dums. Don't. We're advocating against dumb.
This show is anti-dummy.
Yeah, we're against. We don't hate dum-dums.
Yeah, we don't hate them.
Can't say that because that's not politically correct.
No, we don't hate them.
We don't hate.
We strongly dislike them.
But read. No, I don't. We don't. I feel sorry. I want to help you. So read a book every now and then. read a few pages.
Remember that episode of the Boondocks when Busta Rhymes was playing that the rapper?
Yeah.
Man, your brother told you be reading books and stuff, son. Like, word, congratulations.
Yeah, reading books. So that's what's going on. I'm gonna move on to talk about a few other things. So Kentanji Brown Jackson nominated. Come on, man. The women out here, they gonna be on black. I know. So she's been nominated, first black woman for the Supreme Court.
Kentanji.
So the hearings start March 21st. They hope to vote by April 8th. So we'll talk about it more because during the hearings, as we said last time, a lot of stuff's going to come up. They're going to talk about how she used the hopscotch and she did it the wrong way.
The moron from Fort Fox, I don't know why they watch him because of the controversy. He's talking about the LSAT scores.
Who's this?
I don't want to say his name on Fox.
How'd you hear it? Are you watching Fox?
Yeah, sometimes you have to watch the enemies.
Okay.
Yeah, but I wasn't watching. I saw that. I don't know what it was on one of the late night shows. They showed it, but he was asking for the LSATs because Biden said that she was the smartest attorney or something, and he's like, "Well, prove it. Let's see her LSAT scores."
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, all they do is stir up controversy. Again,
they don't like Kentanji. You got an Obama, Kentanji, Kamala. Come on, man. It's getting too racial in there.
Yeah, but of course they're not going to say it. They'll come up with every other excuse, but they don't say race. Although we know that's at the heart of their hatred.
Good old racism.
Been around. I got some friends of mine trying to get me to read this book called 1619. It's a big, thick book.
I heard about that.
They talk about the history of racism. I don't know. At some point I'll read it, but I don't want to be mad all the time. So I need to find it at a period where I'm able to get mad without going off on people. But yeah, I definitely want to check that out.
One of these episodes, we're going to be talk about the racism that we experienced growing up.
Some racism, some stuff.
Yeah.
I've talked about it in forums before.
We talked about it on this show.
I know. We'll talk about it. Some stuff that went down.
I don't know what we'll call that show, but it'll be coming up. We'll have a special show on race in America.
Call it Real Life. So, hey, another thing. Want to spend some time talking about Cain Velasquez. For those who don't know, Cain Velasquez was the UFC heavyweight champion. Bad dude, wrestler.
Mixed martial arts. UFC is mixed martial arts. So for people who don't know, mixed martial arts is a combination of boxing, kickboxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, grappling,
everything.
Clinching, everything.
All those forms. It was started so that by the Gracie family, Brazilian family, because they wanted to find out what is actually the best martial arts form. And they wanted to prove that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu was the best. And they did for several years. They won the tournament that they had, the Ultimate Fighting Championship. But as it evolved, people started learning everything, not just, it wasn't style against style. So people learned
Bruce
Jiu-Jitsu,
Lee was
wrestling.
The first person.
Yeah.
He was the first mixed martial artist.
That's true.
When he would spar with an opponent, and then and they would learn from each other. Judo, jiu-jitsu, boxing. So he was the first person to kind of put all martial arts together. Jeet Kune Do is what it's called. But the modern day, it's called mixed martial arts.
I had somebody say, well, when Bruce Lee was doing karate, I was like, Bruce Lee never did karate. And they were shocked. What are you talking about? Yeah. Well, he was from China. So karate's from Japan. Bruce Lee was from China, so they did kung fu. Yeah, I know. All right, we'll move on. So Cain Velasquez, you want to tell what happened?
Okay, so Cain Velasquez, the former UFC heavyweight champion. So a lot of people would say, man, if somebody does something to my kid, my daughter, my son, man, it's gonna be the last thing they ever did. So Cain Velasquez's daughter, was it his daughter or was it a family member?
I've heard different reports, but we know it's a close family member of his, a child.
Close family member of his was molested over 100 times.
100 times.
100. And so Cain Velasquez found this out. He got his pistol, got in his car, and hunted this.
Well, first the guy was arrested, then released on bail.
Okay.
So he was arrested. The accused molester, 100 times, that's insane, was arrested and released. Then Cain.
He hunted him down and shot him. Shot at the car, I don't know, multiple times. Unfortunately, he didn't hit the guy that molested his relative. He hit the father.
The stepfather, yeah. So,
but the stepfather was helping him get away.
Well, you have to know the stepfather. I mean, but still, he's a stepfather, so he's going to protect his son.
Just like Cain was trying to do,
Right.
protect his daughter.
So a lot of people were like, he ought his sentencing. Of course he hasn't gone to trial yet, but there ought to be some leniency because he was protecting his close family member who had been molested over 100 times.
Yeah, what would you do if you found out your daughter, niece, nephew, whoever had been molested over 100 times?
The thing is, Cain Velasquez could have beat the dude. The dude was in a car, but at some point, if he pulled him out of the car, he could have beat him probably worse. But
the man's mother owned the daycare, so she must have known something. They knew their son was sick.
It's hard to believe that the mother didn't know what her son was doing over 100 times, and that couldn't have been the only child. I mean, that's insane. So a lot of UFC fighters, a lot of MMA fighters, period, not just in the UFC, are throwing their support behind Cain. Maybe he went about it the wrong way, opening up fire like that. Probably not the right thing to do.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, because they were on a highway, driving down in a car, and they could have hit other people, innocent bystander. I mean, I guess he did hit an innocent bystander. Well, he hit a bystander. I don't know how innocent he was.
Yeah. So, I can certainly understand his anger. I can't say that I wouldn't, think about doing something violent, especially if, he's arrested and get out on bail. Of course, that doesn't mean that he would have gotten away scot-free, but.
Hey, so yeah, we want to know what you think about it. Let us know in the links down below on YouTube. I mean, do you think he should be set free? You think he needs to be put in prison? I mean, vigilante justice, you could call it, but I mean,
what would you have done?
Yeah, what would you have done? You agree with the situation, yes or no? So that'd be interesting reading some of those comments and seeing. Personally, I mean, I agree with everything he did except shoot the wrong person.
Yeah. Probably should have left the gun
at home
all the way. Yeah. But if he ran face to face, I mean, there's no way that dude's gonna last with a former UFC heavyweight champion who can do all sorts of things to him. So that's just want your feedback, what you think. What would you have done? Have you heard of similar stories? But that's why, vigilantism can be a dangerous thing. Yeah. Because, one, he shot the wrong person. But, as you said...
that was helping him, though.
Right. Well, yeah. Hopefully all that will come out. And there'll be some punishment for the person running the daycare and the stepfather who is helping him do whatever. But it's just a sick, sad situation. Moving on. So last week we talked about the top 5 point guards. Some of you texted me, saying some folk that were left off the list.
And that was just kind of off the top. We weren't even planning on doing that, but since he brought up basketball, I just decided to do it. So yeah, there were some people that we left off.
So just some folk. Gary Payton. I think we brought up Gary Payton.
Yeah, we brought up.
So Jason Kidd, Tiny Archibald, Oscar Robertson. Some people lifted up Chris Paul, that he should have been under consideration. So just a few folk that were perhaps left out. I still stick by my list, although I think I would replace John Stockton with Gary Payton as number 5. But my list would still be the
Gary
same.
Payton, there's an interview that he just did, and he said he thought that John Stockton was the greatest point guard of all time.
Well, that's it. That's his opinion. I don't think so. I would if I had to pick, I'd pick Gary Payton over John Stockton because Gary Payton could take over a game.
Yeah, I can see that.
But just wanted to lift up some of those as you all text and email and lifted up those names. Those are some great names. Tiny Archibald, the first person to lead the league in assist and scoring. That's a tough thing. Oscar Robertson, first person to average a triple-double. Yeah. That's crazy. So some good players. So whenever you have a list like that, some are going to be left off. Left off. But I still stick by my list. But share what you think. But today we wanted to do top 5 list about the top 5 comedies, top 5 comedy movies
of all time.
I'm gonna give you.
I didn't even think about it, but I mean, I know the first two
All right,
off the top of my head. Mine anyway.
Okay, I got my 5. So let me give you my 5. I'm gonna give you. See if you can figure it out. I'm gonna give you a quote from the movie.
Come on. Okay. Do it.
Okay, the first
Let's
one.
go.
The first one. Best comedy of all time. Afros.
Come on, man. I know that off the top.
Revenge.
And I would agree with that. That's Hollywood Shuffle.
Hollywood Shuffle. Everybody has their own opinion on what the best comedy movie is, but if Hollywood Shuffle is not at the top of your list, then you're wrong.
Top 2. At least top 2 or 3.
Has to be.
If you're a certain age, you're a certain age.
Yeah.
Because the younger people probably haven't seen it.
Yeah, I know my kids have seen it, and they thought it was funny. But yeah, there's some references in there that maybe the younger generation may not get. Like KRS One in his new song said, dropping these bars, but some of these kids under 21 can't even get into these bars.
Yeah.
But so that would be number 1. Keenan Ivory Wayans and Robert Townsend did it on a shoestring budget, but it was still a great movie. Great movie. Number 2, funniest thing. See if you can figure this one out. He helped Joshua fight the Battle of Jericho. He helped Daniel get out the lion's den. He helped Gilligan get out. What's this? It's my number 2.
I know it's Coming to America, but I mean, you at least make it a little harder.
Gilligan,
you
get off the island.
The most famous quotes from the movie.
Okay. So Coming to America again. For those who are in the Gen X, that was one of those movies people went to go see over and over. In that movie theater, when I went to go see that, I almost died laughing. I think maybe the funniest scene where I lost it. I think I passed out. I was laughing when they were sitting on the couch at the engagement announcement party.
Oh, yeah.
And the Jerry Curl juice was on the couch. When the mother and father and grandma got up, I was rolling, dying.
It wasn't Jerry Curl juice. It was Soul
Okay,
Glow.
Soul Glows. Okay, number 3. Number 3 movie, you might, I can't quote, but it was a movie where we learned that there is a gala every year where they announce the Pimp of the Year.
A movie?
Yes. Oh, I got you. You don't even know. You may not be black.
You tell me.
Where in the movie, come on, man. In the movie, they show a scene where they have a gala. It happens every year.
You talking about Black Dynamite?
No, where they announce the Pimp of the Year.
I remember the Dave Chappelle skit.
I remember. And where did Dave Chappelle get it from?
Oh, man.
I'm gonna get you sucker.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, man. You might not be black. Okay, that's number 3. So I got Hollywood Shuffle, Coming to America, I'm Gonna Get You Sucker. Number 3. Number 4, you can probably get this one. That's this. Smart Brother, Am I Gonna Die?
Smart Brother, Am I Gonna Die?
Yeah. Okay, watch it. Listen, okay, here's another scene. Chief, I never saw her in any of my secret agent classes.
Is this Undercover Brother?
Yeah, Undercover Brother.
You think you get that at number 4?
Come on. Well, what you named? Okay, I got Undercover Brother 4. Undercover. Man, Dave Chappelle was hilarious in every single scene he was in.
I don't even know if I've watched that movie all the way through.
The second one, yeah, the first one
Yeah,
you haven't
I saw
seen.
the second one.
Man, come
The second
on.
one
Undercover.
was terrible. I couldn't watch that.
Undercover Brother is my number 4. Number 5 may not be as well known for some, but it's hilarious. So number 5, see if you can. This one scene, like toward the beginning of the movie, somebody says, "He ain't playing God; he's being judged by him." Tropic Thunder. My number 5.
That's number 5.
But you name okay.
That's your number 5?
Listen,
Okay.
Tropic Thunder, hilarious movie.
All right.
Robert
Yeah.
Downey Jr. Ben
blackface.
Stiller. Yeah, Robert Downey Jr. was in blackface. It was hilarious. I know some like, oh, blackface. That's insulting. No, it worked. It was good.
It was pretty good. I don't know if I would have it that high.
Okay. Well, name you. Okay. So let me get my list again. I got Hollywood Shuffle, Coming to America, I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, Undercover Brother, Tropic Thunder. Now, what's your list?
Okay.
All right, then.
Let me see.
You talking about my list? You don't even have a list.
Well, I would say that I would put Hollywood Shuffle. I'll put Coming to America number 1, Hollywood Shuffle number 2. Well, I don't know. Those are interchangeable, 1 and 2. Hollywood Shuffle, Coming to America. Number 3, this is where we start to get a little complicated. I'm trying to think of the recent movies. I mean, I kind of like Black Dynamite. I think I'll put Black Dynamite.
A lot of people probably never even heard of Black Dynamite. Well, you have to explain it. Tell them what it is.
Black Dynamite. Well, most of the audience is black. I would
But
think
they
that
don't may not know
Black Dynamite is. And I remember when I called you and told you, I mean, you need to watch this movie, Black Dynamite. Michael Jai White. He wrote this movie about black exploitation, kung fu in the 70s, and his exact words were, "Man, that dude ain't funny." Then a couple years later, "Man, Black Dynamite is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen." Black Dynamite is a kung fu movie, blaxploitation, making fun of blaxploitation movies. Michael Jai White, martial arts expert.
It was hilarious.
Funny.
It was
movie.
good.
Funny movie, man. I laughed so hard during that movie. I watched it the other day, but yeah, it's a good movie.
Dynamite. Buy Black Dynamite. But Black Dynamite, I sell drugs to the community. Yeah, it was good.
That was a good one. So I think I'll put that number 3. Let's see, number 4. It may be Low Down. No, I mean not Low Down, but I'm Gonna Get You. I'm Gonna Get You. I don't know, man. The Toy. I mean, the first time we saw the toy with Richard Pryor, man, that was, I was laughing extremely hard. So let's do that. Let's say The Toy and Low Down Dirty Shame.
Low Down Dirty Shame?
No, not Low Down Dirty.
That wasn't even funny. I mean, parts of it.
No, I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker. I would put that in there. No. So I'm gonna put Harlem Nights in there.
Yeah, Harlem Nights was good.
So that's my top 5. We're gonna go Coming to America, Hollywood Shuffle, Black Dynamite. I'm gonna put Harlem Nights, and then we're gonna go. I guess I'm gonna go with The Toy.
Toy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Toy was a funny one. That's good.
Yeah.
So I mean, if I had to extend it out to the top 10, yeah, those would be on there. Some honorable mentions.
Yeah, what's some honorable mentions?
There's some other ones out there. Some hilarious movies.
Yeah, there's some white movies too. Something About Mary was really funny.
Something About Mary. I was just about to say that one. That one was.
And then that the first what was that trip where the dudes went to Las Vegas and couldn't remember what happened? Got so
The Hangover.
The Hangover. The first one was good. And then there's a girl's the bridal shower. What was that?
I didn't see that one. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, with the Saturday Night Live women. That was really funny. With Melissa McCarthy. That was funny.
Well, Step Brothers, we mentioned last time.
Anchorman. Okay, let me change it. Because I'm gonna have to put. I got to put Anchorman in the top 5. So I'm gonna kick down the Keenan Ivory Wayans movie and put in Anchorman in number 5.
First one.
The first, yeah.
Yeah, the first one. The second, yeah. So I probably have Anchor. It'd be an honorable mention, Anchorman. You can unplug my stuff. So yeah, those are the top comedies. Let us know what you think. If we missed some comedies, let us know. Put it in the comment section. I know some people call, text, email, but let us know what your favorite comedies are. What did we leave off the list, and what do we need to include next time? Also, put in the comments anything you want us to talk about. I had somebody ask me on. On Wednesday, for Ash Wednesday service, said, yeah, you and your brother ought to do a show on relationships.
What kind of relationship?
Relationships, like men and women relationships.
Man, I'm not an expert on that.
But she was like, okay, you talk about it from a married perspective and a single perspective. I was like, yeah, I don't know that we'll do that, but it was brought up. So I have there are some folk who are sharing what they like to hear us talk about. But if you have some ideas, let us know. We're going to keep doing the top 5 list, something different every week. Also talking about some politics, religion, and all those things. So please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Chopping It Up with the Cleavers. Check us out every Tuesday. That's when a new episode drops. And wherever you get, or most places you get your podcast.
Yeah, make sure Chopping It Up with the Cleavers every Tuesday. Be looking out for us. Till
Check us
next
out.
time.
Peace out.
Peace.
Peace.
I'm of the models. Here I am. I come. That's where I'm from.